Happy Sabbath, everyone. Happy Sabbath. I'm hungry. Happy Sabbath, everyone. All right, I'm going to be doing the health ministry this morning, the health Nugget. And I wanted to talk to you about fasting. How many people have fasted recently? Everyone should raise their hand because when you sleep, you're fasting. Hey! All right, let's wait till they get this on the screen properly. Let me see what works. Okay. Is it okay like that, or you want to expand it more? Okay, no problem. Okay, so what is fasting? Not eating, right? What is the first meal you eat in a day? Do you know what that means? You're breaking the fast from the night. Because when you go to sleep, you are actually fasting. So the first meal you have in a day is usually your breakfast. So some people are like, I'm going to skip breakfast. No, you didn't skip breakfast. You're just going to eat it later. That's what they call breakfast. In fact, in different languages like Spanish, desayuno, and in French, I don't want to pronounce it now. I did it early this morning, but it's kind of the same thing. It's called breaking of the fast. But I really wanted to talk about fasting because fasting has a lot of health benefits. You know, we have the spiritual fasting, we have the fasting you do for health, and some cultures or religions, they do fasting. Jesus did a lot of fasting, disciples did. People fast sometimes when they're praying or when they're having issues, they don't feel like eating. Sometimes when you're going through something and you're very anxious, you don't feel like eating. It's like the body's naturally saying, don't eat anything right now. So, what is fasting? Fasting is the voluntary abstinence from food, drink, or both for a specific period of time. People fast for many reasons, including religious practices, cultural traditions, medical procedures, and health or weight management goals. In the medical field, sometimes when you're about to have a surgery, and the surgery is very, complicated surgery, sometimes the doctor will say, I don't want you to eat anything for 24 hours before you come into surgery. So fasting is very good because fasting gives your body a break so that it can kind of recuperate and set things in order. So I'm going to... Okay, it's not working, but let's see. Okay. Common types of fast. Time restricted and eating only during a set window each day. So this one is actually called this is the one that's called intermittent fasting, where you eat for 8 hours and then the next 16 hours you don't eat. So you eat for not talking about eating like for straight 8 hours. I'm like wherever the breakfast and lunch or dinner falls, okay, and then after that 8 hours, that period, you fast for 16 hours. That's called intermittent fasting. There's another type of intermittent fasting where is the 5-2 approach. I believe it's something like it's eat for 5 days, and the 2 days you reduce the amount of calories that you intake for those 2 days. Prolonged fasting, going without food for 24 hours or longer, best done cautiously and with medical guidance. So usually, that falls into religious fasting because Jesus fasted for 40 days. And we have, types of religious fasting. You fast for a day or even 3 days. And those ones that are heavy-hitting fasting. Religious practice observed in many faiths, often with specific rules on food and timing. But this is the fast for health. We're going to talk about when you fast for health. It's a little bit more different than the ones that are long-term. Right? Sometimes when you're fasting, the benefits of fasting is weight management. It says may reduce overall calorie intake and aid in fat loss when combined with healthy eating. Okay? I hope you guys can see that. Can you see that? Not really? Unfortunately, I'll make the words bigger next time. It says improve blood sugar control. If you have a high blood sugar, fasting actually can reduce it. And in my personal experience, when I fast, my heart rate goes a little below what it usually is, and my blood sugar goes down. Oh, obviously, because you're not eating any food, but cellular repair increases processes like autophagy, where cells break down and recycle damaged components. Brain health. Early research suggests support for brain function, reduced oxidative stress, and cognitive health. So those are some of the benefits of fasting. So here's a general, I'm going to step over here for a second. Here's a general progression of fasting. So from 0 to 4 hours, like let's say you wake up in the morning and like, I'm not going to eat for the next 4 hours, right? I'm going to break my fast 4 hours later. Your body primarily uses glucose from your most recent meal. So the meal you had last night will start to break down and it'll use the glucose from that meal. 4 to 12 hours, blood sugar and insulin begin to fall. For those that have high blood sugar, what you can do after talking to your doctor and say, your doctor, I want to try fasting. It says sugar and blood sugar and insulin begin to fall, and your body starts using stored glycogen, carbohydrates, stored in the liver and the muscles. Interesting, right? So your body actually eats from itself. From 12 hours to 24 hours, as glycogen stores decrease, your body increasingly relies on fat for energy. Fat cells release fatty acids that many tissues can use. So it's interesting, no matter if you're not eating, you're going to eat regardless. It's just not the pleasant kind of eating. You're going to feel some pain. We'll talk about that later. Okay, 24 hours plus. I usually fast for 3 days every year as more of a religious thing, but of course the benefits are health also. It says fat burning continues to increase and the liver produces more ketones which can serve as fuel for the brain and other tissues. But there is a trade-off. When your body's doing this, you're going to be irritable, you're going to be a little bit more fatigued, and people are going to be like, why are you like so, why are you kind of irritable today? Or, you don't really say a lot. You're just more, I guess, mellow. Like, it'll seem like you have no energy. In fact, if someone wants to fight with you, that's the best time because you won't want to fight because you won't have the energy to talk, argue, nothing. So fasting is good for people that like to fight. Okay, so several factors influence how much fat you burn while fasting. Your overall calorie intake over days and weeks, how active you are, your body composition, whether you're adapted to a lower carbohydrate diet. Like for me, I will still go to work when I'm fasting. And that plays, because if I stay home, I guess I'll use less energy. But if I go to work, I'm always walking and doing things, so I'm going to burn more fat or use more energy. All right? To maximize fat loss while preserving muscle, eat enough protein during your eating periods. Include resistance training, working out. Avoid very prolonged fasting unless it's medically supervised. Prioritize adequate sleep and hydration. Now, fasting is not something that is attractive. No one wants to not eat. You want to eat your veggie burger, your salad, your donut, whatever you want to eat. It's pleasant to eat. So when you don't, the idea of not eating and fasting is not like, I don't want to I'm so happy about eating today. No, it has never been. I've fasted for so many years, and every time it comes to fasting, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to eat. So, it's not a pleasant thing, but it's a very good thing in regards to your health. Now, if you're skinny mini, be careful when you're fasting because you have nothing to feed off, But if you're, like me, a little bit, bulky, I could spare some hours fasting, No laughing. Okay. Common side effects include hunger, of course, irritability. Every time I fast, my wife is like, babe, why are you so you're not talking to me? And I'll turn to her and be like, babe, because I'm fasting. So she, she needs to be reminded sometimes, it's not because I don't want to talk or anything, because I just want to be quiet because I have no energy to talk, So fatigue, dizziness, headaches. Dehydration is a risk. Sometimes, I'm working on the bad habit of not drinking water, but you're not going to feel dehydrated. Sometimes when you're dehydrated so much, your body just shuts off and doesn't tell you anymore. So dehydration is a risk, as in when you choose to fast, drink lots of water. That's the whole point, to empty your body of the toxins. especially if fluids are restricted during the fasting period, okay? Now, I know some people don't have, well, some people are not prioritizing with going to the gym or taking walks. Fasting is another way of actually, losing weight and, getting your body back into a more healthier state. Consult a professional before fasting. Individuals with diabetes, those taking blood sugar lowering medications, of course, you have to talk to a doctor. I wouldn't recommend it for pregnant or breastfeeding children or adolescents, unless, of course, they are going through a regimen. The doctor says, hey, the child is about to have surgery. People with a history of eating disorders, anorexia. You don't want to tell someone that has anorexia to fast. They'll be like, yes! They'll do it. They'll be so happy to do it. They have issues that they have to resolve. Individuals with certain chronic medical conditions goes along with anorexia, and other people that tend not to eat, or they're having, let's say, people that eat a lot but it doesn't show. It even makes them burn even more fat. So that's another situation there. So tips for fasting safely: stay hydrated unless fluids are specifically restricted by your fasting practice. Eat balanced meals that include protein, fiber, health fats, and whole grains during eating periods. Avoid overeating when the fast ends to prevent discomfort and digestive issues. I've fasted for a while, so I know what I'm talking about. When you fasted for a few hours and then it's like a wild tiger on the food. You like eat everything you see. It just undoes what you did in the fast. Prioritize getting enough sleep to support your body during fasting, okay? Of course, then it says stop and fasting and seek medical advice if experiencing severe dizziness, fainting, confusion, or persistent weakness. Now, of course, you would consult a medical professional before you fast so that you could be ready if those things happen. So, what the Spirit of Prophecy says about fasting: in many cases of sickness, the very best remedy is for the patient to fast for a meal or two. If you eat twice a day, you're fasting for a whole day. If you're not walking or doing a lot of strenuous work, and you're eating more than 3 times a day or 3 times a day, you're actually gaining weight because your body's not utilizing or not burning enough. So if you eat a meal or two, if you miss a meal or two a day, and you break your fast, maybe at dinner time. Of course, it's not good to eat late at night either, but like at dinner time, 6 or 7 is good. She says there, that the overworked organs of digestion may have an opportunity to rest. A fruit diet for a few days has often brought great relief to brain workers. Many times, a short period of entire abstinence from food, followed by simple moderate eating, has led to recovery through nature's own recuperative effort. Okay, that's Ministry of Healing, page 235. And she says here in Counsels on Diet, when feverish and the system is clogged with impurities, food should not be urged upon the stomach. At such times, the stomach should have rest. There's a quote by Ellen White, I didn't put it up there. She says that disease, sickness, comes from food. Food. Because we can still eat too much food and get sick. So generally, your diet, like Pastor said, your diet consists of the frequency of the food, the type of food. So in general, if we have to be careful how we eat, what we eat. We have to be extra intelligent in the culture we live in, because not every food at Walmart is healthy. I'm just going to put it that way. So Dr. Jason Fung says, you can lose weight and improve your metabolic health without any medication, supplements, or surgery. That's what Dr. Fung says. So that includes my presentation for this morning. I pray that we'll think more about, maybe this potluck you can miss it so that I can have it. I'm just kidding. But, think about fasting. Maybe miss a meal or two, and it'll improve your health. God bless you.